They just go with the flow. It's the Hershey and Keegs Show.
Welcome to Hershey and the Keegs Show, starring pitcher Mark Hirschman and his personal catcher, Mike Keegan. Every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. live from the Governor's Comedy Club radio studio. Thanks so much for listening. Welcome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Shake those hips, grab those nips. It's time to do the Hershey and the Keegs Show. We are so excited to be here. Mike Keegan, Mark Hirschman, Tony Walker. It's that time. How you doing, Mark?
What's up, buddy boy? Nice to see you.
I'm doing well.
I feel like it's been forever. It's been a couple of weeks.
It has, but even 1 week seems like forever.
One day seems like forever without you.
I know, seriously. I have separation anxiety.
You've been so busy. You're so busy. You make me so proud. I want to tear when I see you out there and posting pictures with packed shows, and you're out with big time comics and
busy boy.
What was the last one? This weekend you were busy. What the hell's going on in your life, man?
Where was I even this weekend? I don't. Where was I? I feel like I was off. No, I wasn't off. Well, you know what? I stopped by at McGuire's and did a guest spot there on Friday night.
Dude, can you tell me about that? Because you were there with the legend of all legends. Let's hear about that.
I was there. So Carla was hosting a show there, and I was off. So I figured, you know what? Let me head out there with her, have a night, and go have dinner at McGuire's. And Manny and the crew there were kind enough to give me a few minutes. And Nick Simmons was doing a spot there. Justin Silver was headlining the show, and Tim Gage stopped down.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
Wait, did you not work with Keith Anthony this weekend? I thought you did.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Thursday night.
Yeah,
that was Thursday night. I was at it was Wednesday night. They were having a private fundraiser. At McGuire's. I didn't know who you're talking about. I thought you might have been talking about Tim Gage or Carla.
No, I was talking about the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh, so yeah, Wednesday night. What a show, Wednesday night. That was a great show.
Let's hear it.
There weren't that many comics on it, so it was a private fundraiser for kids with problems or something.
Yeah, of course.
And
it makes sense that you'd be on the show.
Exactly.
Of course.
What a show. Ivory Fields hosted. You ever see that guy host?
No,
he's a ball of energy.
Yeah, I
funny
like
guy,
Ivory.
Nice guy.
Did he take a photo with every person in the audience after the show?
He did, only because I'll tell you why. It was kind of a small crowd. I thought it was mostly an urban crowd there.
Urban crowd, yeah.
So I thought they were just late.
Yeah.
But what happened was most of the crowd, like 3/4 of the crowd, thought the show was here at Governor's in Levittown.
Shut the front door.
So a bunch of people ended up coming here instead of going out to Bohemia. So it was kind of a small crowd.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be a very big crowd, but people went to the wrong place.
So there was a big crowd just here.
They were just here, and they went to the wrong place. But,
gotcha.
But the people that did show up there got to see an awesome show. So Ivory hosted.
Yep.
Carla did a spot. I did a spot. Terry McNeely was on the show.
Terrence Jane McNeely.
Terrence Jane Marie McNeely.
Yep. Good.
And the wonderful, legendary, amazing Keith Anthony,
which is a treat. And try to explain to people who we haven't gotten the word out to what it's like when other comics see Keith Anthony on stage.
It's so frustrating.
All of a sudden, no one's eating, no one's in the bar bullshitting. Nope. It's just
frustrating for me because he's not active on social media.
Right.
He doesn't perform as much as he used to.
Right.
But we've agreed, you and I, not only the best comedian on Long Island, one of the best, if not the best comedian working in the business.
You know, listen, I used to get some pushback sometimes from people who didn't really know Keith Anthony. They're like, well, how can this guy be the best? Nobody knows who he is and this and that. And what I will say is this, and what I have always said is and I've seen and worked with incredible comics, and I've seen other comics live, from Gary Goldman to Chris DiStefano to Bill Burr to David Tell, all killers, absolutely killers. And the bottom line is, I just can't imagine ever laughing harder than I have while watching Keith Anthony perform. Yeah. Many, many times. Mm-hmm. No one's ever made me laugh harder. So therefore, why isn't he the best?
Why isn't he the best? Because he's right up there with those guys.
Yeah.
So like you were alluding to before, when Keith Anthony's on stage, and all the comics know who he is.
Yes.
Like I remember it was years ago. You and Brian Kennedy had produced a show at the
That's
Brokerage
right.
in Belmore.
That was 9 years ago.
9 years ago. And if you don't know the Brokerage in Belmore, all the comics hang out at the bar. There's a big showroom, a 200-person showroom, and in between there's like a little foyer. I don't know.
That's right, a foyer.
A foyer.
Yeah.
And usually the comics are sitting at the bar bullshitting, having some drinks and food. When Keith Anthony was on stage, and this room was packed that night.
It was wall to wall, 200 people.
Room only,
That's
over
right.
200. It was oversold.
Yes.
And Keith Anthony is up there melting the ceilings, destroying.
Murder
and
job.
Every comic, the 6 of us, were just huddled in this little vestibule.
Yeah.
And
Tony,
watching
this was
Keith
a scene
Anthony.
it was bewildering. Really,
when
it was.
the comics gather to watch somebody kill, you know
Yeah.
that guy is something special, and that's Keith Anthony.
So there was actually another comic who had turned out to make a little career for himself, not that many years after that show. But also on that show that night was Tim Dillon.
Tim Dillon was
on that show,
Yeah.
and he was also
Tillum
one of the
Dillon.
guys. Tillum Dimnon was on the show, and he was also one of those guys who was watching Keith with adulation.
Exactly. I mean, that was when Tim Dillon was one of us, a Long Island guy.
Yeah.
We were all doing shows together.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
he's ended up being one of the most successful comedians in the country right now.
That's right.
Millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
And he was one of the guys that was so impressed watching Keith Anthony on stage. Cuddled?
He was cuddling.
He was cuddled, right?
Every audience member got to cuddle with Keith Anthony, and it was just adorable.
And Tim Dillon cuddled with us because he's a big, large gay man.
I actually drove him home that night. I did, yeah. Yeah.
Did you cuddle with him?
I cuddled all the way home with Tillum Dillon.
Who actually just released a special on Netflix.
Yeah, so Tim Dillon did that, and so Keith is a killer, and again, I think what people need to realize when it comes to something like Keith Anthony and stand-up comedy is that you really don't need to be famous to substantiate the fact that you're the greatest.
You don't. Absolutely.
The way that the way I compare it is that ultimately. People didn't know who Roy Hobbs the Natural was until he was 36 years old, and then he hit a ball that turned into a spool of yarn off of off of a lightning bolt. When he was
Thunder Boy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the Savoy Special.
Yeah.
He was the greatest. Mm-hmm. He was the greatest we ever saw. He hit home runs off of Babe Ruth in practice.
Keith Anthony's the Roy Hobbs.
He is the best.
Comedy.
And for whatever reason, why he hasn't, I like to think of it as him choosing to not be famous. He's had other things in his life. He's had other aspirations, going to school and studying the Bible and other things like that.
Seminary school.
Yeah,
he's a brilliant guy. But even the other night is a testament to how good he was. Like I said, small crowd, urban crowd. There were probably
20, 30 people.
There were probably 30 people in there.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't expect would be Keith Anthony's audience, and he went up there. They got him right away. He got them right away, and it was just a great set.
Yeah. I think
that's what made me post that post that I made.
Yeah, I loved it.
Watch it. It's a small crowd of young urban people, and they were loving him. And I'm just like, you
can just say there was an audience of young black people. That's what it was.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
I know urban. I don't
I'm trying to be politically
Is an
correct.
outfitter? What is this? Like, you're talking about their clothing? A young group of black people in the audience.
Urban politically incorrect?
It sounds like you're pussying around.
We have a guest on tonight. I'm trying to be.
No, you just said he's a young group of black people,
and he room full of colors.
Just such an idiot, this guy, that I can't stand him. I've told you this on the show a couple of times, but he's the only guy who can do what I saw him do this particular day at the Engelman Theater. Mm-hmm. This was probably about 7 years ago or so, maybe. Keith was on the show. It was Engelman and there's a bunch of other comics. And anyway, I was sitting with Keith before the show started. I was in the lobby, and there's like if you know the Engelman Theater, there's like a little food stand where you can get sodas and snacks and whatever. And him and I were just bullshitting. We were talking, and maybe a couple of feet away from us, we noticed that there was an elderly couple, and they were arguing back and forth about what snack to get. I want the M&Ms. I want, so I kind of realized it was happening, and it didn't even seem like Keith was paying attention to this. Anyway, he opens up and he does 10 minutes on this. 10 minutes.
Really?
He just does 10 minutes on what happened, and he wiped the crowd out.
And he's doing the act outs, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, and again, it's, they say that, bits don't become a bit until you really work on them.
Yeah.
And he just wrote a bit, and it was a seasoned bit, and it was 10 minutes old.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And
I've seen him do that every time I work with him. I'll be hanging out with him in the green room or something, and he'll just be looking around.
Yeah,
he'll just be looking around, but he's writing. He's
writing.
He's
that's the key. I think that in order to be a really, really good comic, you have to be intelligent to some level. And my guess is he's probably the smartest person that we know.
Yeah. I was doing a show with him. You know how when you're doing comedy and the host doesn't ask you for an intro, so they give you the old generic. He plays clubs and colleges and casinos all over the place.
Yeah.
So the host of the show, and this was pretty recently, brings Keith Anthony on stage, didn't ask him what his intro was, and goes, you've seen him for playing colleges and casinos all over the East Coast. And Keith Anthony goes up his first 15 minutes where so I just got back from all these colleges and casinos I've been working, and it's very funny. Last weekend I was actually working at a college across the street from a casino, which is nice because the show was across the street, but they feed you at the college, and dude, all the comics knew it was just, and he just
Bullshit.
do it off the top of his head, and he's like, then I walk across to the casino, and somebody comes up to me, they're like, are you that guy that plays all those colleges and casinos all over the country? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And dude, just murdering the crowd who doesn't really know the inside baseball of that.
And here's the beauty of it. He did not do that for one person in the audience. He did that for you and Terrence and McNeely or whoever else was on the show. That's why he did it.
He did that
He didn't
for
give
us,
a
and it
shit.
killed.
Yeah.
Another time we were here at Governor's, main room, full house, over 300 people in that room.
Packed.
And he starts doing a George Gallo impression.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who George Gallo is. If you're on Long Island and you're a comedian, you know who George Gallo is. The guy's a phenomenal, he's a Long Island legend.
Yeah. Brilliant comic himself, yeah.
But Keith Anthony starts doing, and then George Gallo comes up, and 300. He was just doing it because me and Terry McNeely were sitting in the back
You
of the
and
room.
Terrence and Marie.
And it's killing. He's doing a George Gallo impression on stage, killing.
I love this.
Unbelievable.
I love it.
And I'll be with him tomorrow night, Keith Anthony.
Where is this?
We're doing a show in Hicksville. It's a fundraiser I do every year for the Long Island Builders Association.
Okay.
What they do is they get all these big building companies and they do a project for a family in need every year.
Okay.
So it's at this place Cosentino. It's a granite warehouse.
Where is this going to be at?
It's in Hicksville in the Granite Warehouse. I do it every year.
Do you think, I make a lifetime of telling you that I'm going to go places that I never go to? This is somewhere where I might actually
come
go
out.
to.
It's a good show. It's me, Chris Roach, Keith Anthony, and Richie Byrne.
All right.
And it'll be a fun show.
So just let me know when Richie's set so I can make sure I show up after.
Richie's going up first, so,
good.
So
Perfect.
you can come right after.
So just let me know when the show starts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll come 10 minutes after that. That's going to be great. All right. If I can get out tomorrow night, I'm not kidding. I will come to that because he's a treat. And, it's sometimes he's a little Haley's Comet. You don't know when it's going to come around next.
Yeah.
So, I'll appreciate that.
Keith Anthony's.
Yeah, that's terrific. All right, good. So that's been happening for you. What else of news and note? Anything else important?
Nothing really. Just last weekend I was pretty much off from doing comedy other than that show, and then Friday doing a guest spot.
Okay.
Just been following our Yankees, who have been
yeah,
what
man.
an exciting time for sports, especially in New York. Yankees, Mets. Yesterday, my Bills won, and the Yankees won, and the Islanders won. That was my day.
I mean, it was crazy, and I don't want to touch too much on it because we're anticipating having a guest on. We're hoping that we have, and I just put this out on Facebook a little while ago, but we're hoping to get an appearance by WFAN's Ed Arzuman, who's a radio and on-air personality as well as a producer. So we're gonna hit some sports up when he comes on, as long as he arrives. He had a family matter to take care of, so hopefully he can show up. But there was one point last night where the Mets game ended. The Yankee game started like within 5 minutes, and then the Jet game started at some point after that.
Exactly, and the Islanders were playing.
So the Islanders, for me, they're a backseat right now.
That's what it is. I like my boss is a big Islander fan too.
Yeah.
But we were both saying I don't feel like it's hockey season.
Yeah, I'm not.
He's a Met fan. I'm a Yankee fan. That's all I care about right now.
Yeah, it looks like we got Big Zoo up here, right?
That's awesome. And then
you give me the word, Tom.
I went to the Yankee game last week. I went to game 2 of the
Good.
ALDS.
Perfect.
The one that they lost, the only postseason.
Should we make our Zoom and wait? Did you tell this
Yeah.
boring story?
You can come on like 10 minutes.
I got to set up. Give me a second anyway.
Yeah, all right. So go ahead. So you went to game 2. You and
Kevin Goatee.
Kevin Goatee.
Good guy.
And you went. The Yankees, I think,
They lost that one. That was the Rodon game.
It's a terrible game.
Where Rodon started off pretty good and then lost it. And then the bats weren't alive.
Mm-hmm.
And but luckily they made it to the championship series, and things are exciting now.
All right, beautiful, very good.
Sports.
It's really just surreal what's going on right now. I don't think we can possibly believe that it looks like to me, and we'll talk to Ed about it, but it looks like they're on a fast track right now as far as meeting up in the Subway Series.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm ready if you are.
All right. So with no further ado, we are more than honored to have on, I would say certainly one of the rising stars in New York sports media. He is an on-air personality at WFAN Radio in New York. He is a radio producer. I have gotten to know him a little bit. Although he's never seen me by face, he knows me as Herschy from Valley Stream. And I am certainly very happy to welcome my buddy, Big Zoo Ed Arzuman. What's up, Big Zoo?
Yo, what is up, boys? How we doing?
My man.
Big Zoo.
I say it's an honor to have me. It's an honor to be here, guys.
I love it,
Thanks
man.
for having me.
I love it. You know, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours who's, I don't know if you know this, but he's going to be doing a show out of the Governor's Comedy Club radio studio where we are. Your boy, Peter Schwartz, is going to be on this station as well. And we were talking, and I said, hey, I want to get Ed Arzuman on, and he reached out to you, and thanks to Peter for that. And yeah, man, it's just a delight to have you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, bro. Thank you guys for having me, man. And I know we've been trying to make this happen for a little while, man. And I'm happy that we could do it right now because, like you guys were alluding to before, it's a really good time in New York sports right now.
It's totally nuts, and Mike and I have been talking about it. If I had to tell you right now, you had to give me an answer. Would you say that these two teams in New York are on the fast track for a Subway Series? What's your opinion on that?
Woo! Oh man, you know what?
Go ahead.
As a Met fan, I don't want to say anything that puts the jinx on it, but you know what? When you look at this objectively and you look at the way the Mets are playing, the Yankees, I don't feel like I need to waste time on it.
Yep.
They are a better team than the Indians, the Guardians.
Oh boy.
They're a significantly better team than the Guardians. I mean, look at what the Guardians are trotting out there to start games. And I know a lot of people have issues with what the Yankees got in their starting rotation, but it's so much better than what the Guardians have out there. That series shouldn't even, I mean, a sweep isn't out of the realm of possibility in my opinion.
Yeah.
And are they still up 3-0 right now? Is it
still up 3-0? Did Cleveland just score? No, still 3-0.
3-0. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people are saying the Yankees got the easy track to the World Series, which very well might be true.
I wouldn't say it's easy. They earned it. They're that good.
Yeah.
You're that good. Is it easy or is it just you're that good, right? You know, like because I think if we were in LA, a lot of people would maybe say that the Dodgers got an easy track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you see what the Mets are doing. They're coming out here. They got the pitching.
I don't want to play. I wouldn't want to play the Mets right now. You know, you say like the same old Mets or same. You don't want to jinx them, but you just see something special this year.
Yeah,
they're having fun. It's there.
I think that's true, and I totally understand it. I mean, Mike and I are both diehard Yankee fans. Our producer Tony Walker is a diehard Met fan, and I get it. You guys don't want to jinx it, but man, from the Lindor home runs to Alonso, like you feel like you're watching. I mean, you're not even old enough to remember '86. I don't think, Ed.
No, I wasn't alive.
Yeah, but I was, and this team makes me feel like I'm watching a disciple of that crew because they're fearless, and now they're playing. I mean, I hate the expression they're playing with house money, but in a sense,
I hate that.
Yeah, but nobody expected them to be here. So as Mad Dog used to use the old term, loosey goosey, they're not playing nervous. That's for sure. They are not playing nervous at all. They're playing cool and calm and collected, and I think that comes from the manager. What do you feel about that?
Oh, thank you. Carlos Mendoza is an absolute. I mean, the I don't know how the Yankees let this guy walk.
I know.
Well, what were they going to do? I mean, he was the bet. What are they going to do? Either make him the manager or let him go. You have two choices.
Make him the manager.
I mean, I would have made this guy the manager.
Yeah.
This guy, the way that he reads the clubhouse.
Yes.
And the thing that I love about him the most is that there are times where I watch him manage a game, like Game 2 versus Milwaukee, where he has about 5 things that he does in that game that I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
And then the next night he comes out, and if he has an opportunity that is similar to the night before present itself again, he nails it. He gets it right.
I was going to say, just knock on wood. He just seems to make every right decision, and he
learns.
Yeah,
but even when he doesn't make the right decision, he owns it, and he's not afraid to go back and make that decision again. Yeah. Like there are times when he brings Diaz in, and I'm like, shit, that doesn't feel right. And then next thing you know, the game's over. So
he's got balls.
The truth is, no manager is ever going to make the right decision every single time. No. But you have to have the conviction of your beliefs, and he does that. And look where this team's at. I mean, they were dead and buried in May, 11 games under, and now they need 3 wins to make it to the World Series. It's not even believable. It's just, I think when we look back on the season at some point.
God. In May, if you told me this was going to happen.
Dead. People were calling for his head.
This is exactly what, and this, I'll just, fuck it. Why not? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, we could do fucks all day.
Mark does it all the time.
Yeah.
So we dropped one of those in there. Maybe I had my quota there, but if you would have sat here in May and you would have said this to me, I would have told you you're not crazy.
Right.
And I was sitting there in May, and there was a piece of me that was like, if things go and they break the right way, I was like, this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. And every single time it has happened.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, they got the magic. They got the grimace. They got the gimmick.
They got the Iglesias, the OMG. Yeah.
OMG.
You need that.
Nimmo's grandmother died for the cause.
Nimmo's grandmother sacrificed her life.
They sacrificed Nimmo's grandmother's life for this. There's no question about it.
Think about it. This season was toxic as hell.
Yeah.
They were sitting there. You're talking Chernobyl levels of people didn't want to show up to the stadium. They had 5 people there on opening week.
Oh my God!
This was as bad as it gets.
They
needed all of these gimmicks.
We had
them to where they are.
Right before the season started, we had Frank the Tank from Barstool Sports on the show. He goes, they're going to lose 105 games this year.
No. He said they were going to lose 120 games.
Was it 120?
So we have.
I think he started at 105 and ended up by the end of the episode he had a 120. They were going to lose.
We had Frank on for a solid 40 minutes, and he did doze a couple of times on us. But when he wasn't asleep, he went on the tirade that Brandon Nimmo was going to hit 195. That the Mets were going to have to release Acuna, all this crazy
Pete
shit.
Alonso would be gone. At the
Alonso
break.
wouldn't make it to the rest of the season, and he was very staunch on the Mets breaking the losing record and having 120 losses.
Right.
So shout out Chicago.
Yeah, man.
Right.
It's totally insane where they're at, and it's super cool. And I'm a diehard Yankee fan who does not root against the Mets unless they're playing the Yankees. So I've enjoyed this ride, and
might be coming soon though.
Yeah, it might be coming soon. I'll take it. Bring it on. Bring it on.
And you know what? To answer your question, I got this all started because I don't think I did it appropriately. I do think that we are getting a Subway Series. I think at this point, unless MLB intervenes in the Mets series,
amen,
to be the Dodgers, it'll be the Mets and the Yankees.
Yeah.
MLB wants to see that Otani Judge showdown, but
they love it. They love it. You see these commercials? Pisses me off, man. But you know what? It also makes me go this is another thing. They're doubting and they're putting the cart before the horse, man. This is another thing that teams, the Nationals back in 2019, these teams didn't have any shot, and then they got every single thing that they needed to broke right for them.
Yeah, the Nationals had they had 84 wins that year. They had they had a garbage regular season, and they just squeaked in. So
they were the same place the Mets were. They were 11, 12 games under at the end of May that year.
Yeah,
and
so
they
got
came back.
the baby shark crap going.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it's just they're fun to watch. They're just young and happy and excited.
And they love each other and they hug and
like
kiss.
Like us.
That's basically like us. Yeah, exactly. All right, I want to take a little turn here because there's other stuff going on. Obviously, I've seen you post some stuff about the Jets, and I think you and I are kind of on the same page. That for me, I don't care if you're getting Devontae Adams, Morticia Adams. It doesn't make a goddamn difference. This team, for whatever reason, can't get out of their own way. They're 2-4 right now. They can only afford probably 3 more losses for the rest of the season. What's your take on this calamity that's going on in New York right now with the Jets?
Listen. I still think the trade was stupid.
Okay.
I still think it came from a place of
desperation.
I mean, complete desperation.
Embarrassment.
But the reality is that they have to make the playoffs this season. If they don't do it, there's a very good chance that it's going to be at least another 5 years, and most likely probably closer to 10 before they get there. And then we're talking about a 25-year drought in football.
Yep.
So that's Browns level type of dysfunction, and Woody Johnson at the helm of it all. I mean, that's the guy who it comes down to it being all on his shoulders. Woody Johnson is the guy that continues to make the wrong decisions, continues to make these stupid ass choices. Yep. Like, you want to get rid of Robert Saleh? Everybody would have been with you if you would have fired him in January. We all knew him and Rodgers had a terrible relationship. You had Rodgers going on Pat McAfee talking about leaks because Joe B's out here, going on Evan Tiki leaking stuff.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, still one of my favorite stories ever.
So, let's be honest.
You fire that guy then? You didn't. You fire him 5 weeks into the season and expect me to sit here and be like, "Oh yeah, this guy knows what's going on."
You knew he had a bad relationship with his quarterback. You knew he was the worst manager and the worst head coach in football.
Asinine. So here we are, 2-4. What is the minimum amount of wins that they can have They have to have a minimum of, I would say, 10 wins to get in, or is it 9? I mean, either way, they can only lose 3 or 4 more games the rest of the season, right?
Depends, man. It depends on how this AFC shapes out. Because right now, I'll be honest with you, before this week, and I mean, this is just how it kind of goes because, everybody gets to 500 and then certain teams lose, certain teams win, and then there's a little bit of parity.
Yeah.
But the NFL has been a joke. I mean, you look around the league, 1 week you got the Pats beating a team.
Right.
The next week you got the Texans losing to somebody that's trash. I mean, you can't judge where any team is right now or where any team is going to be at the end of the year. I think 9 wins might be able to get you in a year like this when there is no dominance,
especially the AFC East. I mean, the Pats are not a great team, and the Bills. My Bills are showing that they're an average beatable team.
But so 9 wins, so they have 2 now. They'd have to go 7, and what would be the rest of their season? They have to go 7-5 the rest of the way.
Yeah,
I don't know. 7-4. 7-4. Can this team go 7-4 with the hijinks? Obviously, I thought that a lot of the
if they get their heads out of their asses and stop jumping off. Stop false starting.
I mean,
exactly.
Learn how to get themselves set before plays. Yeah. Maybe they'll actually get an offensive drive together.
200-something yards and penalties.
It's the only team I've ever seen in history that gets more offside penalties because of the cadence of their own quarterback. Can't you figure that shit out? Isn't that what you practice every freaking day for?
I know.
But Rodgers is making them jump.
In practice, right? Yeah. And they do this cadence probably. I mean, you're talking about these guys probably run 80 plays a week
every day since August.
Also run scout plays.
What's going on?
You're telling me Aaron Rodgers can't sit there? You can't sit there with Tyron Smith and be like, listen, dude, when I drop whatever word it is, it's the 7th word of the cadence. That's the fucking snap. That's when you go.
Exactly.
Morgan Moses, bro, you're 30-something years old. You've been in this league for almost double-digit years. Get your shit together. It's not like it's a line of rookies. I would get it if it's Tittman, Vera Tucker, and then 2 other guys who are in their first 3 or 4 years. All right, you're working with Rodgers. It's difficult. You're going to a master class from Zach Wilson. I mean, you know what I mean? That's like going from hooked on phonics to going straight into dropping you in the middle of Russia and telling you to go speak to somebody. It's not going to work. These guys are veterans, and for them to be doing this, it's jarring more than anything else, and it's not going to get fixed by bringing in Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Like Devontae Adams isn't going to fix any of those false starts.
What is that going to do? That's not going to help
Unless
at
you
all.
can kick a field goal or coach a team.
Oh my God! With the
Just pray
field goals
that
yesterday.
now all of those Alan Lazard targets go to him.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we don't have to see Alan Lazard with the fucking popcorn hands in the end zone.
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean, I thought yesterday at least it was going to be an addition by subtraction. I was a solid killer for 2 years. I couldn't understand his play calling. I couldn't understand his substitutions. I never understood. It didn't seem like the players really had a lot of respect for him. They may have liked him, but not really, respected him as a coach or feared him. So I thought that yesterday there would be an improvement. But the same stupidity was constantly happening over and over again. And they should have won by 20 points yesterday, and instead they lost by 3. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Rogers said, right? It was a 30-point game. The offense should have had a 30-point game.
Easily.
And between what Zerline did and between the penalty on Brees on the Braylon Allen touchdown that gets called back, I mean, they really could have had 30 points in that game. And that's what makes me say, like, yeah, this team could go 7-4 down the stretch if everything breaks right.
Yeah.
But everything has to break right. And they can't have any of this BS going on. And they can't have touchdowns getting dropped by guys that Aaron Rodgers brought here.
Yeah.
So
right.
Now that Devontae Adams is here, Devontae Adams now needs to play like, I know he's not going to be Green Bay 27, 28-year-old Devontae Adams.
Right.
But you have to give me, at least like what the Atlanta Falcons had when they had White and Julio Jones down there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to at least be able to take the pressure off of Garrett Wilson. So now these little passes that he keeps getting that only go for 4 yards, and he has to duck and dive in order to get anything extra.
He's getting beat
those
up.
can go for 10 to 15.
Right. No, I mean, you're not going to be able to double team Garrett Wilson if you're going ahead and covering Devontae and vice versa. So hopefully that opens up the slot.
But if he turns into Alan Lazard 2.0 because,
yeah, because it's the Jets.
Else Aaron's brought in hasn't done too great.
Because it's the Jets. I want to, I obviously don't want to keep you all night. I know you had a personal obligation today, so again, we're super thrilled that you came on with us. I personally was super critical of the Knicks deal. I'm still not comfortable with it yet. I understand the idea of bringing Towns in because Mitchell Robinson's hurt, but the loss of Randall, who I was a fan of, and DiVincenzo, it's stinging with me. I'm worried about the chemistry. What's your take on it, and how do you think it's going to work out for them?
I hated the move.
Yeah,
big time. I don't like Cat as a player. I think he's good. Like, I get it. He's a really good player. He shoots the ball incredibly well for a big man. He does rebound, maybe not to the extent you want him to.
Yep.
And that's my biggest issue. He doesn't play great defense. He's okay.
Yep.
But he's not great. He can't bang with Embiid. Like, that's the biggest issue they're going to have with this trade, is they got rid of a guy in Julius Randle, which they clearly missed last postseason partially because of his scoring, because he's a great player. You miss that always. But also because he's a physical presence. And once Mitchell Robinson went down, they didn't really have that outside of Isaiah Hartenstein, who couldn't do it all by himself. Right. In terms of, laying that foundation for everyone. So you get rid of Julius and you bring in Cat. And I'm just afraid all those hustle rebounds that they got, all those tip outs that they would get, all of those block shots that they would have, that anchor on defense that Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson are able to be. I think that's going to be missing. Adds up. And I do think this opens the door for them to trade Mitch when he gets healthy. So I don't think Mitchell Robinson is a part of this Knicks team going forward. Yeah, so even though he's still here, I'm talking about him in the past tense.
Yeah, I'm not a Mitch Robinson guy. I never have been. What I'm concerned about is kind of what you just touched on, that if you take away the fire and passion of iHeart, DiVincenzo, and even Randall, because people, for some reason, New York fans, I don't think appreciated Randall the way they should have, but he's a dog, and when he was right, he was really, really good. And you take those three guys out of the lineup, man, it's a different team we got here. Yeah. It's a big different team, and people soon forget how how MSG was exploding every single day last year. Every single home game, that place was blowing up. And now you took part of that heart out. And I think that's a big issue. And, I understand, Cat can shoot the three. He can rebound. But he's also soft. And he also gets hurt a lot. And he's also never played in New York full time. He's been playing in Minnesota where nobody pays attention. So I guess we'll see how it is. But I was curious to see how you really felt about it. And it seems like you're kind of on the same page with me about it.
And I want to say one more thing about the Knicks. There's another guy who I wasn't against trading, but that they traded, and it was in a terrible trade that they're going to miss big time going forward. And that's going to be Quentin Grimes.
Oh,
because this kid, I've just seen a little bit of him in the preseason this year. It looks like he is starting to put together all those pieces on offense that we saw with him. And if he does that, he's on the Mavs. Oof. Oof.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
telling you, that kid might be averaging 18 to 20 points this year.
Yeah, I mean,
and a couple steals, and everybody's gonna be going, did you really need to trade for Bojan Bogdanovic?
I think what's going to happen in that situation is that very quickly, if all these things backfire, it looks like the bloom is going to fall off the rose. Leon, not pun intended there. All of a sudden, all those great moves that he made might kind of come and bite us in the ass. So
hey, listen. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby.
Yeah, man.
As long as those three guys can stay healthy, this team is going to be a playoff team. They're going to be winning rounds in the playoffs.
Yep.
It's just a matter of these trades were made to win a championship.
Yep.
If
Amen.
they don't, then it was a failure.
Absolutely.
That's how it comes down to it.
One last thing I want to touch on. It's something that me and Mike talk about, and I can't be objective about it. And wait, hold on. Peter Schwartz is texting in. He says, I owe Zoo a bagel. Is that true? Peter owes you a bagel?
Peter, you know what? Even if he doesn't owe me a bagel, he owes me a bagel.
All right, Peter, you're getting a bagel. Hard to ask a New York guy this question, and I've been debating this with a buddy of mine for the past week or so, and I'm trying to look at it objectively. I strongly feel that the worst fan base from a respect standpoint for how they treat other fans standpoint, how they treat their own players standpoint, is by far the Philadelphia fan base, who I detest. He says that people throughout the country feel the same way about New York, and my point is New York fans have never booed or thrown things at Santa Claus. They've never thrown batteries at their own players. They've never done a lot of horrific things. Turk Wendell was on FAN recently talking about how his family got death threats when he was playing in Philadelphia and ever in New York. So I think the Philadelphia fans are, by whole, obviously not, there's some good ones, I'm sure, but by whole,
no, there
disgusting.
aren't actually.
None.
There aren't.
There's none at all.
Proven.
None, Mikey says. What do you think, Zoo?
It's interesting because I've had not a lot of experiences, but I've gone to games in Philly. I've gone to Rangers, Flyers games, and I've had good experience. I've had bad experiences. Never gotten into like a fight or anything, but just, chirping and having people, really getting heated. Been to Knicks Sixers games. I've never had a bad experience at any of those. I mean, to be fair, It was the Jalil Okafor days of the 76ers. So, I don't think anybody gave a crap.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily, and having spent time out of New York, I don't necessarily think that people view New York fans as bad. I just think they view us as New Yorkers as jerks. Yeah. I think it's more of a just carrying that over and just applying it to sports.
Yeah.
And I think the Philly fan still has their view as being a jerk. They're the ones that, like you said, booed Santa, threw the batteries at guys. Like, that's
flip cars. When have you seen flip cars in New York?
Cars on fire.
Writing flyers on fire.
Climbing flyers on fire.
When have you seen anyone flip cars and light fires in New York? I've never seen it.
People know that shit. It's not like it's under the carpet. Like, that's out there. People know about it. So, I mean, and it's not a regional thing. It's not like, only us in New York know about it, or only, the people in Philly know about it. No, everybody does. Yeah. So, I mean, the Philly fans definitely have a reputation no matter where you go. And I think any Philly fan that tries to tell you that outside of New York, New York is viewed as just as bad. You have to take that with a grain of salt.
I love it.
Because that's just basically whatever somebody's opinion is of New Yorkers.
Correct.
So if I go to my guy and I say I had Big Zoo on from FAN and he said that Philly sucks balls, I won the argument, didn't I?
Exactly, yeah.
I won it. Cool.
Exactly.
Thanks, Zoo. I appreciate it, buddy. We love you. We're so appreciative that you came on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll make sure to get Peter Schwartz's bagel or vice versa. And
hey, you better get me that bagel.
He'll get you that bagel. And I'll be in touch. I'll make a call to the radio this weekend. Maybe we'll talk. And thanks again, bro. We'd love to have you on again if you ever want to.
Absolutely, boys. It's a hell of a time. Foo Philly. Let's get this dub, Mets.
Yeah.
Let's get this dub, Yankees.
That's it.
Finish these things out.
Yep.
And let's have ourselves some fun in a Subway Series.
I love it,
week.
pal.
Good time.
We appreciate you.
Football for a little bit more.
Thanks, brother. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Be well.
Thanks, Zoo.
Be
All
good.
the love, boys.
All the love.
brother.
You got it.
All right.
That was great.
That was awesome. Very cool guy. Very nice
Great.
guy. Thank you very much for coming out.
What are you seeing here? So just so people understand, Mike and I, we do, and Tony, we had the Yankee game on because, of course, we couldn't miss it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the score's cut off on my screen. So are you tracking the score, Tony? Because we're seeing the game. But
phone, but I think
that would be helpful. Yeah, if I hit the
full
wide
screen.
Yeah. God, am I a useless fool?
I didn't want to mess with your computer while we were talking, so I've been checking on my phone.
So, oh boy.
But, there we go.
So
Let's
it's
turn it back off.
top of the sixth, Yankees up 3-2. Okay, very good. How cool of a guy is Big Zoo?
I've loved him. He's one of my favorite personalities on the fan.
You know what? It's so funny. So when I call FAN, I've been a caller for a long time. Yeah. Usually the screeners will kind of start grilling you a little bit, and he knows my number pops up. I guess as Mark the Legend or whatever it is. So he's like, "What's up, bro? What do you want to talk?" Like he never, we just have a regular conversation. Yeah. So he's a sweet guy, and I really think that his likability is going to take him where he's going to be one of those guys.
That's what it is. He's a likable guy. All the guys we've had on here was Peter Schwartz, who is awesome.
Terrific.
It's awesome to be watching him at the Governor's studio here. Mm-hmm. McMonagle's one of my favorite guys on the fan.
Can you, Tony, since are you going to be part of helping produce Peter's show? Is that what's happening?
I will be here.
And so what is the show is going to be? How often the Peter Schwartz show?
Twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, starting this Thursday.
At
1 p.m. From 1 to 2 p.m. He has. Forgive me, I don't know the gentleman's name, but Stump the Wiz, I believe they call him.
Stump Merrill. Okay, good.
Stump Merrill, yes. Vinny Greco.
Is the show called Sports Bash?
Sports Bash.
Yeah, Sports Bash.
Bash talk, not trash talk.
Yeah.
With Peter Schwartz, and Vinny Greco will be here most of the time as well.
Great.
And Vinny Greco is a ticket guy, so if you guys need tickets.
Oh, that's right.
He's done stuff here before. So.
Yeah. I mean, Peter's terrific. Obviously, he's sensational doing the updates, and certainly, he gets kind of involved sometimes in the banter with Boomer and Gio, who really do love him. They love his family, and it's terrific that we have him here as part of the fold because
very excited about it.
I think it's going to bring even more things. So once again, the connection of Herschy and the Keegs brings good things to the studio, and that's why Tony owes us everything. So good luck to Peter. We have about 15 minutes left, so we're going to kind of cover some of the things that we need to cover. Mikey, who has really been very involved with the show recently, this is what I get.
I care about this
I kind of love the fact that I'm I'm Mike's show secretary a little bit.
Like my notepad.
I'm you're too lazy to put it in your phone. So Mike
can
sends
either
me a text.
open a whole app or I can just text you something.
Mikey sends me a text Sunday at 10:43 p.m. And all the text says is Fluff City. And I'm like, all right, okay, and I just wrote back, okay, noted. I knew that he was just trying to tell me something. And at 11:15 on Sunday, after my weekend was a pretty long weekend. We're not going to touch about it today. We're going to touch about it next week. But I had a pretty long weekend.
You had a very long, stressful weekend.
Yeah, so
that's why you guys got to tune in next week. Next week's
going to be phenomenal. But 10:43 p.m. after I had not done just one upstate and back trip for Max's basketball tournament, 2 Saturday afternoon and then Sunday at 6 in the morning, and then 10:43 Fluff City. So, go ahead, bud. Tell me what that's all about.
I was just thinking of it because we always try to think of like gay things that I might have done in my.
I don't try to think of any gay thing. It's basically your life.
You try to make up these stories that never happened.
There's no stories. It's just basically like a biography of your life. So go ahead. Is this a real thing, or are you trying to make up something?
No, not at all. Because I was thinking. I was actually doing a podcast on Sunday. My friend Johnny Benson has a podcast.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, great.
It's the Beer Man Beer podcast. They do it in Connecticut. So I actually went out to Connecticut, Carla and I.
Cool.
To record it. Had a lot of fun. And we were telling a story. I was briefly touching on a story, and I'm like, you know what? This would be a good story to tell Mark because he likes gay things.
I don't. I just...
You do. Okay. You love gay things.
I like when it's you because I like you. Okay, so go ahead.
I, during the pandemic... And I was never a dating site guy. I don't like the dating sites. They're weird. But during the pandemic,
and you always would find men that you didn't like.
Exactly. Yeah. You get bored. There's nothing to do. And there was this gay guy that was my friend on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he ran this gay dating site called Fluff City.
Oh, wow. So this is a legitimate thing.
Large gay men.
Okay.
So I'm bored, and I'm in a relationship. I'm not looking to date anybody.
Well, this was during the pandemic?
This is during the pandemic.
Okay.
So
you're fully engulfed with Carla.
Yeah, I'm not looking to date anybody. Right. I'm not looking to date, especially large men.
You stopped dating large men because of Carla.
Men 7 years ago when Carla and I started dating, and so I'm like, you know what? I want to check out this Fluff City.
Did Carla find you on Fluff City though?
When she was a large man,
right? Yeah.
No, that was I had just joined Fluff City, and because I'm like, let me check this out. It was a guy, a local guy he came out to comedy shows, and he was a fan of mine. And I saw this Fluff City thing, large gay dating. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? I'm bored. I can't leave the house or anything. Let me see if the old dog still got it.
Oh, okay. You wanted to see.
It was one of those kind of things where you're testing the waters.
Fair.
And I'll tell you one thing. I put up a profile on this Fluff City thing, and you're getting flooded with messages. I'm desired in the large gay male community.
So you put up photos.
Full profile, like I'm out there looking.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing. One guy that I had messaged, or no, he had messaged me. I didn't message a guy.
I love the Freudian slips. One guy that I wrote 16 emails to.
But I saw that he was interested in Super Chubs.
Yeah, and what is that?
So I figured it's a larger gay man. So
I
wasn't
extra
sure
Fluff City.
I wasn't sure if I fit in there.
Marshmallow Fluff City.
So now I'm going back to this guy because I see that he's like super interested. I'm like, I'm also a super chub, and he goes, honey, you are not big enough to be a super chub, and it made me feel good.
Right.
So this website,
you felt like an anorexic.
Exactly. And I'll tell you one thing: during one of the worst periods of this country's existence, during the pandemic, I was desired by people.
Yeah.
I was told that I wasn't big enough to be
a super chub.
Like I was feeling good. So that I would say Fluff City got me through the pandemic.
It's very nice.
And then I was blocked from Fluff City because they found out that I was a Trump supporter.
Shit.
Yep. Not there was no bad blood, nothing. Right. But the guy who put the site together blocked me, and I was kicked out of the group because it turns out that I'm a Trump
would have been
supporter.
really great if you were blocked. The reason that you were blocked from Fluff City is being straight. Might have been
that had nothing to do with it.
That would have been a good reason. Yeah.
No, I'm more open about supporting Trump than being straight.
Right. So they never got wind of the fact that you do not like gay men. Not that there's anything wrong with them.
No, I like them as people.
Yeah.
I don't like them romantically. I'm not going out there playing gay chicken with these guys, right?
It's just I have to tell you something, though.
You've played gay chicken before, right?
We'll get to gay chicken in a second, but I'm just going to tell you, and certainly people who know me well know that I was in a really dark place during the pandemic, okay?
And you didn't have any electricity.
So I had no electricity, that's right. No, but, for me, we all have to make choices in life as to what we're going to do. And for me, I didn't I didn't go a lot of places. I didn't talk to a lot of people. I was kind of hidden away in my living room. I was watching documentaries about murder and drugs and rape and stuff like that. That was getting me by.
Yeah.
You decided to have sexual conversations with gay men.
Gay men, exactly.
Large 400-pound gay men.
Large gay men got me through the pandemic, and murder documentaries got you through the pandemic.
Great.
To each their own.
Well, congratulations to you on that.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you. The other thing that you've been texting me about, and you've texted me about it multiple times, and I'm not really sure. I feel like it's something that we discussed in the early days of the show,
I don't know if
and you said that we didn't. And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And the truth is this: we've added a lot of followers and a lot of listeners since the show first started. So if we have to be repetitive this one time, we apologize to our fans who have been there from the beginning. But Mike wants to talk about gay chicken, whatever that is. So
chicken.
Take the floor, chicken boy.
Do you know gay chicken, Tony? Did you ever play?
I have no comment on that.
I get a feeling that you know what gay chicken
I think
is.
so. Maybe he does.
I think I know because I heard about it from Mike, actually.
Jesus Christ almighty. What in the
Gay
world?
chicken's a game you play in college. And it's basically you're there with one of your boys, and you play a game where you know how like if you know regular chicken, like if you're on bicycles and you drive right towards each other, and the first one that moves loses.
Yeah.
So gay chicken is you run your hands up each other's thighs, and the first person to pull away is the loser.
I'm getting warm because I'm uncomfortable right now. I'm not even thinking it's funny. It's like it's sick. This is sick.
No, because somebody's out. Neither of you are gay, so obviously one of you is gonna move.
But why don't you have a catch or play pool or darts or backgammon? Why does it involve someone's penis? I don't understand this. I'm just not understanding. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Yeah.
No, I'm just saying,
now you tell me.
You're saying it doesn't mean you're gay, but it
doesn't because it's not like you're going through with it. What if nobody moves though? That's the thing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though. But
exactly,
like
because if you move, you're gay. That's the thing.
I'm just saying, like, if you move, you're gay.
If you move, you're gay.
No. If you let someone touch your schwanz, that means you're gay. That's what that is.
That means that you have ice running through your veins.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you're basically Rambo with a cock in your hand.
Exactly.
I understand. I mean, that's fine.
Like, come on.
Yeah. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not. Right. We're not doing it.
Totally.
I'm just saying. It just to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Like college, like
you're bored in the dorm.
No. When I was in college, all I wanted to do was I wanted to drink. Yeah. I wanted to smoke weed, and I wanted to feel women's tits. That's all I wanted to worry about.
Well, a lot of the times there weren't women available that were interested in us.
I can't imagine. Those are the ball grabbers. We don't want to hang out with them.
I don't smoke weed.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge drinker.
No, you're making excuses though. You're making excuses to and that's okay. If you're gay, it's fine. I will love you just the same.
It's just something that's past the time.
No, it's not. It's not anything to pass the time. You could have played Jax. You could have played Sega. You could have played Atari. You could have played anything back then.
We did watch baseball a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, but it's not a game. It's 2:00 in the morning. And you're a couple of Coors Lights deep.
Oh my God! I just don't understand. The problem is this.
I didn't move one time.
Hold on a second. Right. Here's the problem. The problem is this. Your track record is so poor when it comes to things like there's again we had a great guest on. There might be people who are WFAN fans and are Zoomin fans still watching. So the fact that we've taken this turn is just, I guess, kind of exemplary of what the H&K show is.
You get a little taste of everything when you're watching today. You got a great guest. Oh boy, what are we doing?
No, Yankees going to score here.
Right. So,
my point is though, for people who don't know this, but you've had from the early days of the show, and we used to talk about you and your 13-year-old buddy sitting on the couch next to each other with a pillow in between, and you guys were so.
You get a little bit of everything.
It's just bizarre to me, and it makes it very hard to convince people when I'll see them and they'll be like, great show the other night, but Keegs is gay.
No, you're